Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is G. Cole, and welcome to Homegrown, where I get to share with you some good music while talking to some great people. Hello world, hope you're feeling as good as I am. I want to big up all my homegrown listeners out there and welcome all the new listeners. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so we can keep you updated when new material is available. We will be posting new episodes bi-weekly. Want to thank everyone who has been listening and sharing. Please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Please check out the website homegrownwithgcole.com to listen and for all things homegrown. The podcast is now available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. We're also very interactive. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MyGCole. The video of this interview is available on YouTube. Please subscribe to our Homegrown with G. Cole YouTube channel. This is episode 99, and it comes to you courtesy of Tad's Records' latest release, Gregory Isaacs' dub versions vinyl cut. It is a 2-disc vinyl set, all right? Straight up dub vibes from the cool ruler himself, Gregory Isaacs, featuring songs like Stranger in Town, Soon Forward, Cool Down the Pace, Night Nurse, Love Me With Feeling, John Public, and a whole lot more, all right? And I'm talking about the dub, all right? Works on here from Lee Scratch Perry. We got the likes of Dean Fraser on here. It's an awesome body of work, all right? Gotta get this one in your collection. And of course, did I mention Flabba Holt, Robbie Lynn, Sly and Robbie, Steely and Clevie, The Roots Radix Band, Bunga Herman, Namba Robinson, Chico Chin, and a whole lot more. And guess what? Mixed by King Tubby. Don't say I didn't tell you. Remember, Gregory Isaacs' dub versions, the vinyl cut, courtesy of Tad's Records. Add it to your collection now. Today we talk about something that we'd rather not, but it's very important. Victim blaming and victim shaming. Something we have to do away with, especially in our Jamaican culture. It's amazing the things that come up in conversation with folks, and sometimes different people from different arenas mention certain things, and I realize that, wow, a lot of the things that we think are unique to us, are unique to our situation, are unique to people we are intimately, involved with, or we know personally. You realize that it's almost like universal problems. It's like every problem is a universal problem. We all know folks, man, and I think it's a hard and damning thing when you sit there and you witness people self-destruct. Can anybody relate where there's people who you see and you wish the best for and you hope the best for, and but they're just self-destructive, and as you see them go through, you try and endeavor best to say, hey, or try to impart some, I don't even want to say wisdom or advice, but just some love. But you do realize that there is only so much that you can do. I personally, and in conversation with I say this all the time. I'm trying to make it into heaven on my wife's credits. You know what I mean? She is way more an empathetic person, just in general, than I am. I like to think that I'm an empathetic person. I am a conscientious person. I try to show love, try to be as great to everybody as I possibly can. But I am the person who will say, you know what? This ain't working. This don't make no sense. The environment is toxic. The situation is toxic. Let me exit. Right? Graceful. And it's still all love if I say, we're good. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that if somebody comes on and you send me a message, what's up? But we gotta change the perimeters. We gotta change the dynamics of our relationship and just exercise a little bit of distance, because the thing about people who are normally self-destructive is that a lot of times, while they're self-destructive, is not for lack of trying to involve you in the destruction. You know what I'm saying? And have you participate in the destruction too, whether it be of themselves or yourself. But you never stop praying for folks nonetheless. But, it's like we're talking about even the artist Jacure. And I personally I like the artist's music. He's a tremendous talent, and we all know the history with Jack Cure, and went to jail for rape, and even that's a little cloudy. People say yes, I saw it go. Some people say there's some color in the smoke, But nonetheless, an artist that went in, did I think 8 out of 13 years, came back out, and unlike many that one get incarcerated and come back out, got embraced, but not only get incarcerated and returned to society and was embraced by the music and the fans, but went to jail for rape. Certain things you can go to jail for and come back out to the street credit, but there's certain things that you come back out and the folks are just like, nah, you know what I mean? So he went to jail for rape, came back out, was forgiven by the populace, by the general public, and allowed to come back. Hey, McLeader, how are you? How's it going? And allowed to come back in and was given a second shot at not just doing music, but at stardom. Was able to pick up where he left off and even elevate, add upon, expand upon that stardom that he had prior to his incarceration. Because while the music changed, the reality of it is this: he became a way bigger star after coming back out of prison. You know what I mean? And myself and others, we always, hey, it's about the music. A lot of times people struggle with separating the music from the art. Or should I say the art from the artist, right? A lot of people struggle with separating the art from life. Me personally, I think I have taught myself over the course of the past however many years that I separate the two. And here's why I separate the two. There are many people that we know in our personal lives, our pastors, our family members, our friends, that a lot of the skeletons just haven't come out the closet yet, right? And truth be told, even when some of those skeletons come out the closet, we will forgive, and we're not going to forget. We will forgive, and we will embrace, and we will support because of our affiliation to folks, right? And for that reason, I'm like, let me just try to separate, because even if you don't go as extreme as crimes and stuff like that, the truth is this. Let me tell you something. Majority of your favorite artists, if you ever met them and spent time around them, you probably wouldn't feel the same way about them. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. Is it, Tracy? Better than me if you forgive. You see, the thing about, and the reason why I say sometimes I have to forgive, because it's a choice that I have to make. Because at the end of the day, most times when certain things happen, there are very few times when there's a clear-cut guilty. A lot of times things are circumstantial. And when you grow up in a environment like I grew up in Jamaica, we've seen many circumstances where foul is cried and it's not necessarily so. And I'll expound upon that a little bit. That's why you don't hear me. You hear me talk about victim blamers and victim shamers, and I burn a fire for them all the time. But that's the reason why I haven't even commented too much on the actual, like the Richard Stevens situation that's going on right about now. Right? But I have a huge gripe with the victim blamers and victim shamers. And it's funny, I posted a video clip that's about no more than maybe like 8 minutes speaking on that explicitly. And the victim blamers still commented on that victim blaming, right? And victim shaming. But I have seen circumstances before where foul is cried and it's not foul. So that's why, for that reason, I say, you know what? I am not going to accuse anybody of anything. I would love to see justice play out and things go how it's supposed to go. But while I say that, my major concern and my major empathy doesn't go for necessarily the person who is accused,
but it's the person who is the victim or the alleged victim, right? Because truth be told, things happen a lot of times, and people always say, why don't you come forward when it happens? It's not an easy thing for somebody to come forward. And I'm talking about women and so forth when it comes to rape and everything. It's not easy for them to come forward because there's too much skepticism on the part of the general public. It's like you have to prove to people that these things, that something happened to you, when the act of proving it to them is reliving it. One thing that somebody keep hitting me up and saying, hey, something like that happened, you go to the police and them get the rape kits and DNA evidence and all them things. But I'm a dude, so I'm not trying to speak on behalf of. But can you imagine somebody rape a lady, and between the time that the act happens and the police, for them go police station or whatever, let's say that's an hour, 2 hours, you're saying that person must stay there with the smell, with the feel, with the filth, with the whole thing from the aggressor, right? From the perpetrator, and them. Oftentimes, the first thing in their mind is, I just want to wash off the person here for me. And we say wash off, but truth be told, concerns of even pregnancy, the first thing is, can I scrub this off? Is what the people are thinking. And then, of course, the Monday morning quarterbacks will sit down at home and say, well, no, man, you have to go first and get the evidence in, and whatever the case may be. It's amazing how we can rationalize things from the comfort of our own couches. The comfort we want our bedrooms. But when things happen to us, then we want to apply the human element. Tracy said, Gregory, think of your loved ones if they were a victim. Now, forgiveness. Again, I feel you. But why I say what I say is because we're talking about a broad scheme of things here. When we say an artist or whatever doing things, I'm talking about just being who they are. It don't have to be as extreme as rape or as violence or whatever the case may be. Just artists disappointing you. That's why I said, for me, I can separate the two and just, artists act a certain way, have a certain attitude. Yeah, man, forgiveness is, we're not friends, right? Now, let's talk about, again, circumstances are different, and sometimes we kind of bridge gaps here and there, right? But you don't have to forgive. A lot of times we've gone through this already. Forgiveness is not always for the person you're forgiving, it's for you. A lot of times, because we're walking on some heavy burdens. I wonder why people out there snap and becoming worse versions of themselves toward people who don't deserve it, because you're carrying on a burden from something else, right? So you have an issue with Joe Blow. You have an issue with Joe Blow, and you have an issue with Joe Blow, and because you have that issue with Joe Blow, you've become something or someone that's repulsive to other people. If you're comfortable with that and cool with that, hey, by all means, and not nobody. And again, for clarification, like I said, Tracy, your honesty is appreciated. You say you're not a forgiver. Hey, to each his own. I am. Now, let me clarify when I say I am. Let me clarify what I mean. I'm going to say I am. For the injustices that have ever been done to me, they've never been severe enough. Again, I know your situation, so it's a total different thing. But then when you say I'm not a forgiver, that's a broad statement. So that means if somebody lied to you, if somebody do this, saying you're not a forgiver means from the simplest of infractions to the most extreme of infractions, you just not forgive. And that's kind of what I'm getting at when I say a lot of times, one person or somebody offend you or do whatever the case may be, and everybody suffers as a result. The truth is, that's what we walk out in the life with. But when people treat us a certain way, we're up and, why them treat me a certain way? Why you going? So I may not deserve that. But you don't know what burdens they're carrying. Maybe there's somebody who them not forgive and them will take out them wrath on everybody, and you will take out the wrath. So whenever we say stuff like that, we always say it as to how it fits us, right? But again, I never will say to somebody, hey, go around forgiving people. Because remember, here's the thing with me. My circumstances, any ill that has ever been done to me has never been severe enough for me, so me can't forgive somebody for it. Now, for clarification, Again, we see right now we're in a time and we say, what's up, Nads? How you doing? Empress Unique, well, go on. What is our reason? You know what I mean? That's just everything going on right now with our artists out here acting a fool, running amok. And, you know, can we separate the art from the music and stuff like that? You know, it's such a challenge. Bless up, George Prophet. But, you know, again, to each his own. You don't have to. I personally, I've taught myself to separate the art from the music. You know what I mean? Honestly, because it's music we're talking about. But if we're not going to be able to separate art from life, then we can't go. We're not going to be able to watch the movie because majority of the people on TV watching our favorite movies are guilty of all kind of crazy infractions too. The people that do the music guilty of it too. Your pastor guilty of it too. Your brother guilty of it too, and so forth. So it's a situation where I personally choose to separate the two. I am yet to have had somebody repulse me that much that I just can't listen to the music. I know people who it's right off the bat. No, we can't listen to film music. We can't listen to film music because of that. And I understand it. Because I'm going to give a perfect example. I have not been able to bump any R. Kelly music for a little minute now. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to tell you that I'm going to toss out my R. Kelly CDs. Nah, I'm not telling you that I'm going to do that. I will never say that. Right? Because I can separate the art from the reality. But truth be told, right now, at this very moment, I'm just not. Yes, I listen to music casually sometimes, but most of the times I'm listening to music, it's a heartfelt thing. I'm in the mood for this and so forth. Music, my life revolves around the music a lot. So most times when I'm listening something, I am feeling the music within. If I'm driving the car and listen to some music and my wife will talk to me, I stop it. And she'll be like, no, turn it down. I say, no, I can't talk to me. I can't pray the two on one time. So while you want to talk to me, let's talk. You and I can talk. It's all good. But when time I turn on the tune, I get my undivided. You understand? But that's me. So the music means more to me than just a casual background elevator music scenario. So for that reason, you know, I will put it on pause until my soul feels okay listening to it again. Like I said, you're absolutely right. Like we said, to each zone. But when we talk about a forgiveness thing now, what I mean more so than anything else is this. I'm a father. I'm a husband. You violate those people, my mom's gone, rest in peace. My grandma's gone, rest in peace. I still got my mother-in-law that I love to death. I'm a father, right? So if you violate them, me not tell you, say, boy, I can't speak prophetically until I say, yeah, man, I will forgive you for that. Me not know about that. I can't. Me not know if me can do that, right? Knowing who I am and how I am. So that, but I also have to acknowledge that not every infraction carries the same weight. You know what I mean? Not every infraction carries the same weight. You know what I mean? Theft and murder is not the same thing. Lying and cheat is not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So not every infraction carries the same weight. So for me, people violate me, you know, just not on those severe extremes. Nobody's punching me in the face. You know what I mean? You punch me in the face, then we might have a different conversation. But you acting a fool and stuff like that, violate the terms of our friendship, then, I mean, we can't forgive you for that. But when I say forgive, let me clarify now. There's this misunderstanding or there's misinterpretation, this misconstruing. Well, go on, Monique, how you doing? Large at my Coral Springs fam. There's this false narrative that forgiving somebody means forgetting it, tossing it away like it never happened and kumbaya. Nah, man, we're good, man. Forget away at all, but that's in the past. That's for the birds. The breeze is gone. But you're not getting an invite to the barbecue. Nah, it doesn't mean that I have it up against you. It's just that, you know, we've established who I am, who you are, how we exist in each other's life, and it's no longer that place where we need to hang out and be friends like that no more. But again, it's no ill will. If I'm driving down the street and you've got a flat, I'ma stop. Right? Because that's safety right there. Right? If me I go to a spot and somebody gonna do something and me can stop them from doing something, me I gonna do it. But you still ain't getting an invitation to the barbecue. You're not getting an invite to the renewal of vows. You're not getting an invite to Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving, no. The baby christening, nah, none of that. Right? And truth be told, you ain't gonna get no random what up phone calls either. You know what I'm saying? But again, it doesn't mean that you haven't been forgiven. And I have had to express that to folks on multiple occasions. Say, yo, all right, I'll give you an example. Somebody violate me one time, right? Here's how the violation go. I'm not gonna use the word family because it was a spouse of a family member came and that when them come up they always stay with me, whatever the case may be. So here's how the violation came up now. They took a vehicle from my house that they weren't supposed to. Right? Sounds simple, right? So you come in, you decide, okay, I'm out, take the car gone. But what if something had happened to the vehicle? You'd have cost me because of money. So I was like, nah, King, you can't do that. That's not right. If you ask me, right? But then I make it go on. The person then proceeded to register a business using my address. Did not say a word to me. Now, for those people who know finance and taxes and whatever the case may be, that can come with implications. This is my primary residence, right? It's homestead for tax purposes. So what can happen here is that they can now revoke my homestead because of the fact that this is now registered as a business address and not my primary place of residence, right? So now my taxes could go up exponentially, all because you, for whatever reason, say you want to register a business or whatever. You never asked me. If you had said something to me, I would have told you, no, you can't do that because of that reason. But I'm also knowledgeable enough to help you to figure out how you could register a business because it can be done. It's not that complicated, right? So one event after another event, the problem where I had to do the severing now was when I spoke on it, the person's response was, I am not trying to help them grow. So I am not trying to help you grow because I didn't let you compromise my taxes and I make my taxes go up a couple $1,000s well annually, right? Or by telling you it was not right for you to just go in my garage and drive out a car that wasn't even mine. It was my wife's car because she had taken my car that day, right? And so you just infraction upon infraction. So I decided, you know what? Time to sever this. And as with me, I have no qualm saying, listen, nah, it not gonna work. Do your thing. Best of luck. Peace. Right? And that's what I did. So then I had somebody call me some years after that, or the person been reaching out, and I have not necessarily been receptive. I mean, not disrespectful, not rare, but no conversations because, like I said, we're done. So then I have somebody saying to me, yo, something happened, you can't forgive, you really malice. I said, no. Let's clarify something real fast. I'm not malice nobody. I have forgiven. But what says and why do we need to have a relationship? We've established that we're different people. Right? We've established that we're different people. So do you and I am doing me, and nothing wrong with that. And that's what I mean when I say we can forgive, and I have no problem forgiving. But we also will tailor from here on the grounds of our relationship and how we're going to do this. Now, again, like I said, it's based on the infraction. Every infraction a different merit, and that's the reason why, legally speaking, right, certain crimes, different penance, right? Right? Even sins, different penance, right? It's let me see what I'm going to say. Nad said, Clementine, you're absolutely right. Boundaries got to be set, and I'm one of them people that I like set my boundaries, and I don't like it violated. Nad said, I forgive, but won't give the chance to hurt again. That's exactly how it ought to be. Because here's the thing, people are people. And here's what my experience is with folks. Liars lie. Thieves steal. Cheaters cheat. All right? That's just what they do. People are who they are. So if them violate you, you can forgive and you can do your thing. But don't get it twisted. If a person is a thief, that's what they do. Right? So you open up the safe and them going there is your fault because you know that they are thieves. So oftentimes the concept of forgiveness, you forgive, you don't forget. Because at the end of the day, the person how many people here can testify that they've forgiven somebody multiple times for similar infractions? Because that's just what they do. Verona said, if I cannot forgive the person who hurts me or my family in security, personal rape, murder, stealing, I don't want to be around you, period. I forgive you, yet stay out of my space because I just don't trust that individual. You know something now, you're right with that 100%. But here's the funny thing about that. When somebody violates me to certain levels, I keep a distance for two reasons. One, so you don't do it again. But the second one, to be perfectly honest with you, is protecting myself. Not from you, but from myself. Because if you do certain things to me, especially if it is somebody for me, not necessarily me, but my family members, I can't promise you that I am going to respond to you in any way that's going to be less than harmful to us both. So you violate somebody for me and me, so let's keep our distance. The reason for keeping the distance is I can't promise you that I'm going to respond a certain, that you're going to come in front of my face. I'm going to get a flashback and something happen, right? So sometimes it's best to maintain that distance for real. Empress Unique was Papa lacking. Empress said, I can forgive depending on the severity of the situation. Exactly. I agree with you about forgiving and keeping those boundaries. No, you will not get invited. No, you're not getting a phone call. But it doesn't mean that me sit down here or wish any. Exactly. I'm not sitting here wishing for your demise. I'm not wishing you ill. If you've done me something wrong enough that I'm going to wish you ill, I'm going to do you the ill. If you've done me something that wrong where I'm going to wish you ill, then that ill is coming from me. Right? You don't have to worry about that come from somebody else and me I wish you karma. No, karma is going to be me. So that's why I'm saying the severity of things, I don't broad brush the thing. Right? Empress says, I cannot forgive the person that took my son's life. That's the hardest thing for me to do. And guess what? I completely 100% understand that. That's why I'm a rock with even Tracy Christie. I've known Tracy Christie since MySpace days. I know the hurt and the stuff that she's gone through. So for situations like those, I would never get up on there and say, sister, forgive them, man. Forgive your blood and skirt. Forgive what? That's not what I'm saying by all means. And by no means at all I'm not saying. Because me know me not do it. Right? But I also just want to make sure that I'm not walking around with a heavy heart because it will affect me. Right? But it doesn't mean that if you jump over my fence and cut off my tooth, what I eat apple them, if I'm not gonna forgive your feet. You know what I'm saying? Knees buried, no, you cross the line. But I joke, man. I'm just playing. But at the end of the day, again, there's levels to it, and it's about the severity of the infraction. So we see artists like a Jack Cure go out and come out and have been forgiven by what would be deemed a lot of times an unforgiving or a society that finds it challenging to forgive, which is us, reggae and dancehall and Jamaican community. But get the forgiveness and turn big star to the point where you could go outside of those that domain and become an even bigger star, right? And then, I don't know if you all know, the past couple of years, you kind of just see the unraveling. Some people saying, hey, young man, brother, you need to go seek some help. But from videos and audios coming out that were just totally a mess. Sometimes people say, you never know what's going on. Sometimes it not really goes so, but you can do the math sometimes. And if there's 10 situations and you involved in the 10 situations, then guess what is you? I'm sorry. If 10 situations are happening and you are the common denominator, then I cannot go around and say it's 10 is the 10 other people. So over the course of the years, I see the unraveling, and you say there's always something negative in the news and some proportion of violence toward other people are always some form of issue. Right? Accusations of and they're all along the same MO, same guidelines. You know what I mean? It's some violence related thing. And those people who know the artist and familiar with the artist will tell us, say, yeah, man, him have a temper issue. You know, one brother was so him stay. So you got some issues. And then you see other people say, young man, you need to go get some help and you need to do this and ray, but it doesn't ever happen, right? Then no, and again, I drop this out there when I say, I don't normally speak on an artist or speak on an individual with a situation going on, because until it settles, it's really allegations. All right? But I always speak on the response of my people, of the masses, which is something that I normally have an issue with, right? So until everything gets resolved in the court there, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, another first, second, third, or fourth time, or fifth time since coming out of prison that he's been involved in something like that. So I don't know the artist personally, have no desire to meet him personally, but he's a talented artist and the music bad, right? But that's what I mean when I say, you know, we come out and we forgive when it comes to that. But sometimes you give people the forgiveness and they take it for granted. And that's an artist too who have expressed ill feelings toward radio personalities and all kind of things. Like you know, somebody has blown up and the stardom has consumed them and gotten to their head and it's just crazy. To me, that's a perfect example of what that is. You know what I'm saying? But here's the flip side of things now. Promoters are out there, I don't know what you have, and it's not everybody's the same, just like it's not every woman is the same. So you can't say every woman, you can't say every man, you can't say every promoter. But majority of, especially when it comes to the reggae business, because our thing is about like business sometimes, and the business part of it, a lot of it, doesn't run as smoothly as it ought to. Right? And the incentive for it going that way for a lot of artists pretty much is when if to go around the corner and the sidestep, there's always the incentive of more money for them. Because promoters have a tendency to try to say, you know something, if you work directly with me, I do this, I do that, you know. You're not make no less money, you're going to actually make more money because I don't have to pay them. And that's how artists find themselves in some sticky situation. But I'm going to tell you the truth, majority of promoters are shiesty when it comes to reggae and dancehall music. Right? Majority of promoters go about the thing the wrong way. Majority of promoters are hustlers. So a lot of time them a hustle with something that's not there. You're hiring a band or an artist or multiple artists or DJs, or you're paying. You're trying to book a venue with resources that you do not have, right? And your plans are, well, I have a little bit of money, so if I give them some of the money right about now, I give them the rest right from the gate. But if the gate doesn't turn over, right, you're looking to pay somebody from profit. So if the gate don't turn over certain things, then you don't have the people the money to give them, and you're expecting them to understand. Remember that them come and do a job, you know, right? When you call ADT for an alarm system and you give them the information and take some of the money or whatever the case may be, and then come on and put in the alarm system, you can't tell them after that saying I have the money, right? Or your cable company or whomever the case may be, or the car you buy or whatever the case may be. So why is it that you want to do that to the artist, right? If you don't have, if the venue and the artist and everything is going to cost you $100,000 out of pocket as your investment capital before you make any money, if you don't have $100,000, enough for you. You don't have it, right? Because you're not supposed to have $50,000 and then counting on the gate for the other 50. Go look at work, right? Go get a 9 to 5, go find a job. Because at the end of the day, you compromise other people who are on their job. Security can't get paid sometimes because they're wait at the end of the night for you. DJ and promoter duck out and whatever. And sometimes it goes left. Again, I do not know exactly what happened at the Jack Cure situation, but you never know. When I said, let them go and go with Jalove. I just don't want you in my space, period. All right? No, period in some cases, Tracy. Trust me. Charmaine, what going on, Emperor Charmaine? How you doing? Verona, you see the thing, leopards don't change their spots. Even if you've shaved them, as soon as that you grow back, the spots are there. Absolutely. Vibes all go on. One go. Right? Some promoters are sellouts for $1. Just true, no Tracy Christie. Here starts growing. He's a good singer. He needs to start listening to his songs. You say he needs to start listening to his song. Let me tell you something. Some man an artist. You have artists, you have singers, you have performers, you have a whole bunch of things, you know. And Take it outside of even reggae music. Even go to R&B, go to gospel, go to a lot of things. Some of your most convincing singers, they're exactly that. Singers, right? It doesn't mean that they're singing about their life. What they must sing about or what was written for them, right? Majority of Whitney's catalog, she not right, but she convinced you that she'll always love you, right? True. She convinced you that she believes the children are the future, right? Because that's what she does. She delivers, right? And it's the same thing with a lot of these reggae artists too, is that they're delivering a message, but because reggae is a type of music that is a feel-good music, that is a music from the soul and everything, you're embracing it as a part of them. Because it's not just pure. Many other artists, some of them still huge, still doing great, still in the community. I love them. I play their music all the time, whatever the case may be. But me know from being around and being in the midst and being around who's around that the music that they are singing is not who they are. And again, that's a part of why you have to go into the separating the art from the from life. Because somebody said Jah love, no means say them even believe in the Almighty. Because somebody said peace, enough people are sing peace and shake and come by and the baddest man on my road. Enough man are sing badness and the biggest cowards. Right? Them just, it's entertainment. And you can't get caught up in that. Right? So a lot of times when the artist sings something, I am never moved by an artist. I can be moved by a song. Right? And what I mean by that pretty much is I am moved by the song, not the artist. So if somebody else should sing the very same song and sing it properly, I'm going to be moved by them. A perfect example, I love Tyrone Taylor's rendition of Cottage in the Grill. I'm moved by it. I am just as moved by Dwayne Stevenson's version. Just as moved. Just as moved. Right? So that's what happens. I am moved by Little Green Apples by Dennis Manuel Brown, but I'm just as moved as the one by Christopher Martin. Well, D Brown, I'm an artist, so D Brown look a bit more, so yes. But I love the Christopher one too. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, appreciate the art for what it is. All right? And shoot, me might go through some of my catalog and people question it too. Right? I remember when I dropped my first album, I had a lot of love songs on there. Right? And stuff like that. One of my cousin laughed after one day, female too, and slip on. I hear a lot of love songs out here, but can I play a lifestyle you're going with? I was young. I ain't going front. You know what I mean? I was young. So at the end of the day, but that was what, and I wrote those songs. That was what was coming out of me still, you know. So I had the potential to be good. I was just growing into it. You know what I mean? But it's just one of them things where I appreciate the art for Wagwan, I'm our shepherd. Blessings and a singer. Yeah, man, but we just have to appreciate the art for what it is, all right? Because if you should hold the artists to what they sing all the time, then you're going to have problems. The unfortunate thing is, in order to deliver music, you have to convey it. You got to sell it. It has to come somewhat from you. Even if you're not the creator of it, it is coming from you. So people will be convinced and people will associate it with you. How come they don't do that with the movies, though? Right? How come they don't expect Denzel to be American Gangster on a daily? They don't. But that's how the thing go. But nonetheless, as fans of the music, as lovers of the music and lovers of the culture, we do have to sometimes separate the two. And my wife said something to me the other day, and I completely agree with her, though we have that little battle, because she's the type of person where she night, you know, once she's done, she's done. But here's the thing, which she said, which is true. And this is for people who are committing major infractions now. From your sexual assaults to your violent crimes and whatever the case may be, to serious drug habits and whatnot. She said, well, even though you say that, I agree with that and I understand that, but when you support that artist in terms of buying the music, then you are actually facilitating them committing the infraction. Because certain infractions that you commit, you need to have money to do, you know. In order for R. Kelly to have accomplished the things that he accomplished, when I say accomplished, I don't mean the positive, I mean the negative things that he did. A poor person, a broke person could not have accomplished it. Right? You have to be a star with a bag of people around you, that enough revenues coming in that will allow them, that'll make them turn a blind eye. You understand? Nana Benyon, what's good? Camille, how you going? Brooklyn in the building. Princess Myra, how are you? How are you? Always good to see the Massive and crew, man. Appreciate y'all big time. But you know, in order for Kells execute film indiscretions as as much as he did, for as long as he did, it requires resource. It requires you having infrastructure that you can cage in and people from the outside can't see. It requires money so you can pay people for participating in your deviance, right? It requires money for create things that will entice and lure these people in. So he couldn't accomplish that without the resources. So what my wife was saying to me pretty much is your constant support of the artist funds that. It provides the resource, it provides the money. So he's like, once we discovered the infractions of this artist from way back when, if we hadn't taken the stance of, hey, it's the art and that I'm here for and not the artist, then probably financially would not have been able to create what he created and commit the infractions that he did. And the truth is, she's 100% right. She's 100% right. But it goes again back to the infraction. So I can understand. That's why my soul not sit well with the whole R. Kelly thing right now. So for the past however many months, I have not been listening to R. Kelly's music. Right? Having a conversation with somebody else about that. Because here's the thing. Anytime we want to support what we want to support, we'll find excuses and we'll find logic to support it. It's the same reason why when it comes to, again, sexual assault and sexual abuse, no matter what, watch the comments when people talk about it. There are people in there that there's nothing you can tell them. They could see it on tape. They're still going to support the person because they're just a fan, a wagonist. Right? I'm coming on my feed all the time. When you hear somebody start giving you the excuses, and half of the reason is this too. People defend certain infractions because it is infractions that they themselves can commit. You understand? So the people who empathize with the rapists and the violent people do that because they know that they're probably capable of the same thing. Like I mentioned earlier, there's somebody who I know who their child was sexually or accused somebody of sexual assault, and they're still cool with the person who was accused of it. No, that can't happen with me. The person still even come to the crib. That can't happen with me. But then if you think about it, why would they still be able to have that person as a friend if your child accused them of sexual harassment? It's because you're probably the same type of person, and maybe there's secrets and skeletons that don't have on one another way. You can't to dish them on dirty. So a lot of times when people are quick and eager to come up and say, hey, she says so, I saw the thing go, what she had do over there? Maybe she didn't want it. Why she never do this? Why she never do that? Why she never fight? Somebody say, why she never scratch so she can get DNA on her fingernails? Telling you're supposed to be the detective in your moment of crisis, you know. When people say these things, you know what I say to them? You are a potential rapist yourself. You might not have exercised it yet, but for the mere fact that your first automatic response is to defend, right? And try to go at the character and the decision-making skills of the person who is the alleged victim, says to me, you are working on your own alibi, your own defenses, just in case you get caught up in the same thing. Right? People who empathize with certain things only empathize with certain things because they're understanding of it. Right? So that's why we have to be very careful who we are around sometimes. You know what I mean? Very honest, the same here, G. That's why it is so disappointing for the children who's listening to their songs. And they become a part of society now. Yep. Right now, it's not looking so nice on this one. It kind of isn't. I'm not telling no lie now. I'm not telling a lie. Emperor Charmian says their ego for me. Bruh. It's why I keep the love every time. They can have the fame. The love is the movement. So true. Empress of Madness, the things. You see, we are human beings, you know. Disappointment is not an easy thing to to come by. Because you see, and here's a little bit of honesty that we have to throw into something sometimes that we don't often do. People are multifaceted, right? The things are true, Princess Myra. Camille said, look what I'm to Tanya Stevens. Exacto mundo. Exacto mundo. But here's something that we have to realize sometimes. Human beings are multifaceted. So the truth of the matter is, within a man, within a woman, sometimes lies multiple characters. And I'm not talking about schizophrenia here or mental health. I'm just talking about multiple characters. Right? So I say that to say, when somebody gets accused of something, and somebody on the other side says, nah man, me not think of him do that. That is not the person I know. I understand. Because more than likely, them not going to show you that side. Serial killers have people who they love, you know. Serial killers have families too. They never kill them. And when they got found out, the family was shocked because that's my loved one that love me and me love them. How you can tell me that I'm a serial killer, but they're not killing 19 people? Straight up soups and sandwiches with 19 people. Ate them all. Right? People do these things. So I understand when somebody says, boy, me no know, you know, because that's not what I know him to be or her to be. That's cool. I understand that completely. Never can take that away from you. 100% understand that. What I cannot get down with is you then discrediting the person who is saying it happened. Right? You discrediting the person that says it happened. And then not just this, but going in a situation that you were not there, you're not involved in, you know nothing about. You know as much as the general populace, even though you may be a fan of. And a lot of time these people are going in and supporting and defending these people and they don't know them personally. Right? You're defending your politician, your president, right? You're defending your artist. And the truth is they don't know you. They would walk up past you in the street and and they don't recognize you. And if you go up to them too much to them, gonna make security knock you out. Because they don't know you. But somehow, someway, because they come through your speaker and through your headphones, you think you know them. Not true. So all of a sudden you're defending. But at the end of the day, it's part of the culture that you're defending because unfortunately within our culture, we don't see. A lot of times our people don't accept how damaging rape is. And you see, because we grew up in a society to where rape is so accepted. Enough people are 50 years old right now, 60 years old, and is age. Them age out of the rape game, you know. They're aged out of the violence game. It doesn't mean that they're not that person. You know what I mean? Them in a church now, them have them family right about now. They're coming over to your house and they play domino with your uncle and your family and this and that and what. But their past, that's who they were. And who they still are. But it's just that right now, man, I'm 50 at 16. Now I'm just trying to hold on nobody now. You go hold on somebody and try to do something, a woman gonna knock you out. But back when you were young and physically able, you were. So that's the reason why when the accusations come up to you, it's kind of like nonchalant, say, hey, whatever. Because you don't see. You do not see the wrong in it because you are that person too. So for every person that go up on my YouTube or come up and come in and say, well, what happened? Why shouldn't I talk up and speak up and whatever the case may be? You know why. A lot of abuses family at home and they're not speaking up. Asking them why they're not speaking up. The reason why they're not speaking up is because they're afraid of you. It's the same reason why. And again, I'm going to repeat this part of something that we spoke on a couple of days ago. For every man or woman who sits down and discredits somebody who reports any form of violence or assault or anything, sexually or otherwise, and you sit down and discredit them. Imagine if you have a family member, one of your children, nieces, nephews, that's going through abuse, and they're sitting next to you. They will never come forward because they now realize that you not gonna believe them because you just don't believe that those things happen. Right? 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 This is how bad the thing is. I was at an event, and this was not the nature of the event, but I was at an event. Blessings, God, you give thanks. Clementine say, if it walk like a, if it quack like a duck, it's a duck. Quack, quack. So I was at an event and hanging out with some folks and just talking to some people that I met. A lot of people I've met on here. And there were like 4 ladies that was in the midst of it all. And, chat and conversation done. And we went home and we've gone. And over the years, we've continued to communicate and whatnot. And you always hear the stats about 1 in 3. You always say, boy, say, look around, 1 in every 3 women has been sexually assaulted, especially I grew up in Jamaica, right? 1 in every 3 women have experienced some form of sexual abuse. Now, it might not be rape. Sexual assault and rape are 2 different things. But assault and violation is assault and violation. You might not have gotten the opportunity to rape the person, but you violate them, right? Now, over the years, as I got to know these 4 ladies and then speak to them individually and have my own individual relationship with these ladies and stuff like that, guess what it turns out? It turns out that every last one of those 4 women who are from Jamaica experienced sexual abuse while in Jamaica, while growing up in Jamaica. So if I draw the stats from around me, and again, I am here with 4 women that I didn't know from Adam, and eventually as we talk and so forth, stuff come out later on, right? And now all 4 of them were victims of sexual abuse. Then that means that stat that we're running in terms of 1 in 3 might actually be more. It might actually be more, And there are many people right now that are walking around normal because not everything affects everybody the same way. I knew from a long time ago, just from schooling and just observation and common sense and whatever the case may be, when Tanya Stevens, because Tanya Stevens has been talking about this for a long time now, right? She never called any names and so forth, but it comes up. She's never been shy about it. And I commend her for it because she's a known voice, so it helps. But I would never have doubted Tanya Stevens because from her lyrics to her demeanor to how she, phrases certain things and the casuality and sometimes aggressive nature of which sex and stuff like that is referred to in her music. I mean nothing derogatory and negative, but just the way how she's casual about those form of emotions makes me believe. You know what I mean? Makes me believe that, of course, that's true. Something happened to her. You can tell if somebody, you can tell when you don't know what exactly happened to her. But again, just listen to the tone and how she communicates and whatever. Very talented lady. But just the way how she expresses her stuff and the casualness in which certain things are spoken of and the passion in which certain things are spoken of. I'm not questioning it. Something, of course she's gone. She went through what she went through. Right? But in the same breath, there are people that have gone through stuff that are walking around each day not expressing it like her. You would never know. And they're not going to say it to you because there's a certain shame still attached to that. A lot of women feel like if they're dating a man and them plan and the wedding plans are even being made and they mention to the man that, oh, by the way, so back in my past I was raped, still something I deal with. The fear is that the man are going to say, no, sir, she's damaged. And I don't mean damaged from a physical standpoint, because sometimes we can put the physicality on it and be like physically damaged from the rape. No. Talking about like damaged goods. Like, oh, she's damaged goods. No, trust me, I've heard it. It's like, oh, them are damaged goods. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a relationship with somebody who's gone through a certain trauma, there's baggage there and you are going to deal with it for the rest of your life too. And that's something that you can be prepared to deal with or not. You do have the right to say, something I'm prepared to deal with. But I'm talking about from the trivial, ignorant standpoint of damaged goods, that she was raped or a rape victim. They start questioning things themselves. I wonder what kind of girl she be, where she did go, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, a lot of women not going to say it to you. And a lot of women and men, because I'm a woman alone, and men have capability. They have the capability of existing, putting it to the back of their mind, and you would never know. Because like I mentioned, all 4 women, I would never know if we never got cool enough for them to tell me certain things. Right? So the point is, enough people who you don't count in the 3 or 5 or the 1 in 3, or in my case, the 4 or 4, that are also victims of abuse. It's just how they respond to it. Right? And as with many things, people either run far away from it or repeat the cycle. Hence the term hurt people hurt people. Right? And that's why, like I mentioned, I did an episode of the podcast earlier, sex trafficking, human trafficking. And the same person who was trafficked ended up becoming a trafficker. Right? She said it was under duress. There was another instance where I listened to another podcast, and another woman who was victim of sex trafficking then became the trafficker. And there's, of course, the Stockholm Syndrome. For those people who don't know what Stockholm Syndrome is, it's where you are abused or violated in certain terms by somebody, and then the victim actually develops a bond with the victimizer. And then all of a sudden, even though that person's an abusive person or whatever the case may be, and they might be raping you on a regular, then all of a sudden they become your boyfriend or your family member, whatever the case may be. That's a Stockholm Syndrome, right? Research it, we can go more in depth in it, but that exists too. That's very common, right? And some people are in abusive situations and do the straight up math. Can I make it out there on my own? Is it worth it for me to be out there on my own? The financial part of being on there on my own. And if the math not adding up, then they decide, you know what? Can't take the beat, Right? Right? And then some people are just living in fear. So them tell themselves that them love the person because there's fear. This person been violating you sexually or whatever the case may be, and you decide you want to exit the situation, but you're worried that he might decide, say, no, so you have some information that might be detrimental to me, so I might have to harm you even more. It's a whole bunch of things out there. And I'm saying all these things to say, don't judge people who don't come forward, especially when you are not willing to listen, especially when your automatic disposition is to judge. Then do not blame them for not coming forward. Right? And the karma thing, there's a mug. Right? Right? Because we're very, 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 very casual when it comes to people's pain, but we're very, 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 very in touch with it when it's us. Your neighbor go through something and you say them forget over it. Your child go through it and you want to kill off everybody. But we're just, as human beings, sometimes we can be very self. Very, 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 very self. And again, for me, I keep speaking on it because I keep getting the comments. I keep getting the stuff from people. Questioning no matter what. And a lot of times, we've dealt with this topic on this program probably 20 times before this year, where you have the Tanya Stevens situation, the Richard Stevens situation. And every single time, there's always been people in the comments saying, well, maybe I know so it go. It's not for you to question. Remember, you don't know the truth or not, So how about you to support? Right? You see the thing about sexual abuse and mental abuse and emotional abuse and so forth, rape and all them things is we're also conditioned that if we don't see any broken bones or any bandages, then it wasn't abuse. Right? If we never seen a broken bones and no bandages, if nobody's in a cast, if you're not in a wheelchair, then was it really that bad? Some people think that way. And that in itself is a major, major issue. A major, major, major issue. Say it over and over. A broken bone heals a lot quicker and a lot better than a broken heart and a broken soul. Trust me. That's kind of how it goes. Right? Clementine, at the end of the day, treat people like you want to be treated. Karma will rear its ugly head. And sometimes, treat people like you want to be treated, yes. But I remember when I was in school, people used to say a lot of time, when you do certain things, you don't do that to your mother? How many times have you heard that? Would you do that to your mother? And sometimes I go as far as when they say something, go call your mother, so. And you get vexed. Because that's your mom's and you can't envision, you can't picture that ever happening to her or somebody ever doing that to her. And a lot of things that people do to other people's children, you would have killed somebody if they did it to your mother or your children. So if a simple thing like bullies in school and bullies can keep on bullying because they're bigger and stronger, why can't it happen outside of school? Why can't it happen in the real life? No man should violate a woman. It's against God's law. Nobody enough to violate. Nobody. You're absolutely right, Kojo. Nobody enough to violate. Nobody. Right? No one should violate anyone. And then something else come up and say, something else came up before somebody said, well, people are doing this and people are doing that and women are, I don't want to hear none of that. That's a total different conversation. We're not talking about what leads up to it. No matter what lead up to it, that it should never happen. That it should never happen. What gratification can you get out of having sex with somebody who's not wanting to have sex with you? What kind of gratification you can get out of I have sex with somebody who don't want to have sex with you? Are some sickness that's still enough? Forgot through the whole physical thing of fighting somebody and doing this and that and still maintain an erection and a position to have sex with somebody. Yeah, I think you have a problem. Verona said, yes, you're damaged mentally, physically, and emotionally. That shouldn't stop you from accepting love. All you have to do, get to know the person, pass and let him know your past. To form a true loving relationship, life goes on. Our past teaches us things before we make commitment. You're so right with that. And I will drop this out there because I have to look out for everybody. You see the person who can't handle it, don't be mad at them. They're not for you. Because it's not everybody can handle that. That's a lot for somebody to bear because here's the deal. Whether or not the person exhibits anything from it right now, any form of damage that you can see and any form of trauma that you can see, it is there. And not everybody's equipped to deal with it. So if you express to somebody that that's your past, hopefully they will not be rude about it or hurtful about it. But if you express to them that that's your past and they can't handle it, you need to respect that too. And ain't nothing wrong with that. They're not the person for you because you're going to need a certain level of support and a certain amount of strength that they just don't possess. They just don't possess that. And you've got to understand that. Right? But at the same time, everybody wants to live a normal life and be and love and be loved. They want to love and they want to be loved. And a lot of time, if the fear is that if I tell you who I am or what I've been through, I will be denied love, then a lot of times people won't speak on it. People just won't speak on it. They just won't. And it's sad. And then later on in life, people harm themselves or people do this or people do that. And they're why? The good old people, them live them life and them have them money and them comfortable. I don't know. Well, go on. It's because you can't see everything. The turmoil is not always right there for you to see. Right? We have to be careful, man. Verona said, Jamaican man will kill you for disrespecting his mother, yet treat the woman worse than how his mother was treated. You see what I thought about? Yep. Just not his mother, sister. Yep. That's how the thing go. You know, and it amazes me on a daily. Right? Could just say, if women say no, that mean no. It's not a piece of meat. Love and respect her as empress and queen. She's the mother of civilization. Right? Tracy Chris said they will usually throw it in your face at a later date. True that. Happens. And up in overwriting sometimes, you know, come tell you something. Some men are coward, you know. Big coward. Some men are. Because they target victims sometimes. And come let me tell you something. You have some girl out there where, and don't get me wrong, physically speaking, a lot of time they're stronger, more imposing and empowering. So, you know, them as a animal, them a do what them a do. But big and serious. But there's some people who target. And there's certain women who them know say, nah, take that. Because you have some women out here don't play that. Don't play that. And them can tell from day one. And them leave the one day alone. Right? But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to look for harm anybody, men, women, or whatever the case may be. Right? But again, as I say, my issue for now is not with accuser or accused, because again, I personally don't want to ever, without substantiating evidence, without concrete proof, without conviction, so to speak, refer to any man as a rapist or accuse him of being a rapist or agree with the allegations that they are a rapist, because the stigma of rape will not be washed away even with a not guilty verdict. So if the accusation is not true, even when it's proven unfounded, is not enough, because that stigma, they will stick on them. So for that reason, I don't approach that part of it until the outcome is the outcome. But I got a big issue with the victim blaming and victim shaming. Episode 2 of the podcast is called A Sexual Abused Woman Speaks Out. There was a friend of mine when I was growing up in primary school. It was 3 of us, too young to take common entrance, too young. We were at the top 3 students in the class, but too young. So we knew we were going on to the 6th grade because we were too young for the common entrance in the 5th grade. And took common entrance to go 6th grade, still together as a unit, cool. Take common entrance, we go in Jamaica. You go to school wherever you go to school. So she gone all the way over there, so him gone all the way over there, and I'm gone all the way over there. So we kind of lose touch. But people like those who were a special part of my life always cross my mind, and I always try to, where are they now? What are they doing? And I was trying to look her up, because the guy I seen on social media, we communicated a little bit. Her, just couldn't find her. I actually found her on iTunes. Right? And then I realized why I wasn't finding her. I was spelling her name incorrectly. But I found her because of some recorded pieces that she had on iTunes called A Sexual Abused Woman Speaks Out. And that's somebody who I spent some of my formative years in school with. Right? And then, as I did that episode, more and more things and people start coming out the woodworks. And it's always somebody close to you that violate, because they're the ones that have gained your trust and can violate. And you realize how widespread this thing is. This problem is, this epidemic is. And it always comes back down to people don't speak up right away because they feel they can't speak up. Right? It's not until way later that you normally hear. And then you get hit with the why did they not say it then? How is that child, the 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, going to confront a 30-odd-year-old man? He's mentally outplayed her from the get-go, which is probably why he got himself in the position to be able to take advantage. So you got to tell a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, why you never speak up? A 16-year-old, 17-year-old, why you never speak up? Really? Verona says, my childhood makes life very strong. My past is my past. I'm stronger than before with Jah love. It's a good over evil thing. Don't it? Of course, it is. Each one reach one, each one teach one. All right, let's just pray for each other. Let's just do our best by each other. And when circumstances like that come up, support or not, you don't have to support. Just don't tear down. You know what I'm saying? Support or not support. Just don't tear down. So if you've made the decision that I'm a favorite artist, that I'm a politician, that I'm a pastor, that I'm a cousin, that I'm a brother, that, so I'm not going to bash him, If you think of that, then guess what? It's cool. Just don't tear down the other person. The concept of if I don't have anything good to say, I'm not going to say anything still exists. All right? Please exercise it.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has indeed been a pleasure. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast, Homegrown with G. Cole, available everywhere. All right. Also, check out the website, homegrownwithgcole.com, to listen and for all things homegrown. And to watch the video of this interview, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember, be safe, be kind, and be good to each other. My name is G. Cole, and this is Homegrown.
Nakikinig ka sa música, Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
Remember, all the music played here on Homegrown with G. Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, and all your digital retailers. Please support the artists.